Monster Hunter Portable 3rd was the successor to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PlayStation Portable, more commonly referred to as the PSP, and this game is generally forgotten about by Western players, and many may not even know of its existence, as it was only ever released officially in Japan. But fortunately for Western players, patches were released for the game, so it could be played in English. So let's dive into the question as to whether or not Monster Hunter Portable 3rd is worth playing in 2022. Monster Hunter Portable 3rd takes place in Yukumo Village, arguably one of the best villages we've had in the series, which is accompanied by an awesome soundtrack. Portable 3rd adapts the core content from Monster Hunter Tri into a new single player campaign, with a few new quests sprinkled throughout that are original to this game. The village itself has a Japanese aesthetic and is very easy to navigate, accompanied by an automated and manual farm similar to that of Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. As with many other older Monster Hunter titles, the story isn't at the forefront, but of course story isn't the reason why Monster Hunter is one of Capcom's highest selling franchises. As always, the gameplay is where Monster Hunter shines, and here it more than makes up for everything that is lacking in the story department and beyond. The story, for those who are wondering, revolves around the generic "you are a hunter who has been tasked with dealing with a potentially devastating threat to the village." And while this game does adapt a lot of core content from Monster Hunter Tri, underwater combat is not present in this Monster Hunter entry, alongside Lagiacrus, Gobble and Zedeus, who have also been removed, which were present in Monster Hunter Tri, and were also present in Tri's Ultimate version, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. On top of all this, we also got the return of the training school, which was also present in Monster Hunter Freedom 2 and Freedom Unite, and this is where newer players could learn the basics of the game. And I definitely think that this game's Japanese armor set that you start with is definitely probably one of the best beginner armor sets we've had in the entire series. The core gameplay of the franchise is here and in full force. It is not your standard hack and slash Dynasty Warriors type shenanigans. Monster Hunter redefines the style of gameplay most associate with it at first glance. Here you are facing off against a monster or monsters 2, 3, 4 times your size and sometimes even bigger, and one slash could send half of your health away, with every hunt being an exhilarating experience, especially for newer players to the franchise. Of course, if you are a relatively adept player returning to an older entry to see what you missed out on, difficulty may not be a pull for you, but the gameplay and visuals, and even the older gameplay style, will hopefully be enough to keep you hooked. The main new additions for the player here, at least at the time the game was released in Japan, was the implementation of having 2 felines to hunt with, which was an increase from Unite's single companion system, and we also got the ability to customize their equipment using scraps. While the customization wasn't as in-depth as the hunters, the felines' weapon, head and body armor could be customized, which was a great additional area for player progression. In addition to this, a new quest space was introduced into the game called the Misty Peaks, which was eventually added into 3 Ultimate as well. However, in Portable 3rd it is accessible much earlier. In place of the feline kitchen, which was present in nearly every Monster Hunter game before and after Portable 3rd, we got the Hot Spring, which was a really cool variation to virtually the same mechanic. All the weapon classes from Portable games released prior to Portable 3rd are present here, with the addition of the Switch Axe, but keep in mind if you are coming from newer games in the series, such as World, Rise or even 4 Ultimate, you will see a downgrade in the combo system. However, it's not at a bad state in this game, and it is still very enjoyable. Monster Hunter Portable 3rd also harbours an excellent colour palette, making it very pleasing to view while playing, with the hitboxes also receiving a much needed refinement from the daunting Freedom Unite. One of the main turn-offs may be that the title does not have a G-rank difficulty, but players would be pleased to know that the core Monster Hunter gameplay loop is there, and while it isn't as difficult as prior entries, and possibly even some of the newer entries, it is just as fun. As for the monsters, Portable 3rd doesn't have as big of a roster as Freedom Unite, but it does have a relatively big roster, especially if you compare it to its sibling Monster Hunter Tri, which only had 18 large monsters in comparison to Portable 3rd's 40 large monsters, and this also is taking into account the fact that we don't have a G rank. There are a bunch of returning monsters as well as a few newer entries to the series, however no monster in this game has become exclusive, with all the newer entries returning in future Monster Hunter titles. Some of the best monsters you will find in this game consist of Elatrion, Amatsu, Genmoran, and the flagship Zinogre, but that is only scratching the surface, mentioning a few, with there being many other awesome monsters. Other than having 3 Elder Dragons, the roster overall is quite solid for what the game has to offer, and will be a blast for most, if not all, Monster Hunter players, new and old. And finally, as to how you can play this game for yourself, the easiest way would be to emulate the game using the ppsspp emulator, which of course you could probably expect is the PSP emulator, but of course make sure you do own a physical copy of the game if you do wish to own it legally and guilt-free. The game is on PSP and PS3, and the PS3 version is the HD version, and if you do play it on the emulator, you can very easily get the HD textures, and of course the English patch is also much easier to get installed. But if you do have an actual PSP and want to get the game, there are a bunch of guides and websites online that will help you find the game and make sure that you can patch it correctly in English. But with that said guys, that does bring us to the end of this video. If you did enjoy, a like would be extremely appreciated, it does help out the channel a ton, and subscribe for a lot more Monster Hunter content. If enough of you ask, I will be 100% fine with making a tutorial on how you can get this running on your PC, and of course do keep in mind you will need to have relatively decent specifications on your PC. It's not going to run on a toaster that was from like 2005, but I'm sure it is relatively easy to run compared to like 3 Ultimate on the Wii U. So if you guys do want that, definitely drop a comment down below and I will try and make a tutorial as quick as possible. I'm sure it's not going to be that hard to do, but I am all for making a very short and snappy tutorial on how to get it installed as easy and simple as possible. Don't forget to join our Discord, links at the top of the description, lots of awesome other Monster Hunter fans there, and we would love to have you with us. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.